wow, it's like a movie, right? But it's real. As I said, getting lost at sea could not have happened to two more deserving people. I think they may have been a bit crazy or driven crazy by the stress of the pandemic. I mean, I can sympathize with that part. It was pretty stressful at the start. There was a lot of fear, a lot of panic, misinformation and conspiracy theories flying around. And these two guys went hook, line and sinker into this conspiracy theory. They
no pun intended, right?
Every pun intended.
Yeah.
There was some crazy person peddling a conspiracy theory on the internet, on YouTube, that this coronavirus was sent by the devil to kill off humanity or as a punishment for humanity, and that the vaccines were just a hoax. And so these two guys were just so utterly terrified, they rented a boat and went off into the ocean, imagining that they could hide out on the Cook Islands, which is a very tiny place. But by the time they got there, the Cook Islands had, of course, discovered about the pandemic and had put in place their own restrictions and testing. And they still absolutely were terrified of the tests and believing it was all some kind of hoax or conspiracy, dived into the sea and were never seen again.
Yes.
So I guess in some ways they were successful. They never caught corona.
Correct. And they never
or were
had
tested.
To take,
They were never tested.
Nor
or
vaccinated.
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 I like what the captain said. It's like, we didn't turn around because that's not what they would have wanted.
Yeah, it was for the best, maybe.
I don't know how that's pretty sketchy. I assume the captain was just like, well, this is easy money. But on the other hand, they probably wouldn't have wanted it.
Yes.
Because they didn't want to be tested, so being rescued would mean being tested probably at some point. So there's a good chance that they wouldn't have wanted it. So I guess it's a win-win for the captain.
Yeah,
it's a lose-lose for the people though, and their families. Like they left their families.
One of them had a young kid, didn't he?
And I'm like, if you were really that worried about coronavirus and all this devil stuff, you would bring your family, right? To be like, hey, we don't want to die by this devil dude. Let's go together. But instead you just left your family to die with the devil? Like, I also don't understand that part.
No, it was very weird.
I mean, I assume the family rejected the plan, said, that's a terrible plan. But still, like...
Yeah, maybe they tried to take them and they were just like, no way.
Are you crazy? And yes, they were.
Did you feel yourself get a little bit stir-crazy during that first year of the pandemic? And how did you handle it?
For me, my sanity control mechanism was my personality. Being alone and being at home is a happiness for me rather than a boon. And so during the first part of the pandemic, and actually being in Korea was fine too, because we were still able to go outside, we were still able to buy things. I think if I was stuck at home and I was like, how am I going to get food? That would be a little bit more scary. And after like a few years, let's say it was like China with zero COVID policy, I would be wondering how to make money too. So definitely being in Korea helped a lot. But even in the short period of time where we were at home for I think about a couple weeks, they're like, no one's coming to work, just stay at home. That was a great time. I love those 2 weeks a lot. That was great. Just order food, eat, take a walk outside a little bit, usually at night, and then that's just perfect. Yeah. No stir crazy.
I think for us, it was such a short period of actual isolation. It was just enjoyable.
Yeah, it's like a break.
Yeah, but for other nations, when it went on and on and on and on.
Yeah. What can be done to teach people how to have critical thinking in a way that is productive to society or to themselves and family?
I think really the essence of critical thinking is the ability to be able to pick holes in your own argument and at least comprehend the argument of somebody else that you may or may not agree with. So this is something you have to practice consistently. So getting together and discussing issues with people you respect is great, and regularly is a great way to practice. Do it over things that don't perhaps get too emotional at first. You know, pick a fiction book. I do. You know, if you're in a reading group or a book club or something like that, you're discussing, you know, fiction. It's not anything anyone's going to get to cry over or you know get really angry about. Yeah. And then you can move on to the more sensitive topics and try to control your emotion and engage with the ideas of a range of people.
Yeah.
And this will stop you being polarized and stuck and stubborn and.
And you can learn these very essential critical thinking skills in your book discussion class at Pagoda in Gangnam.
In Jongno.
In Jongno.
But the course also runs in Gangnam. It's just I'm not the teacher.
No, go to Jongno. You want her.
Jongno's the best one.
Yeah, Jongno's the best one. Obviously, yeah. Don't worry about that. I might be the best teacher in Gangnam, but this is the best book discussion teacher in Jongno. Anyways.
I'm the only book discussion teacher in Jongno.
But the best.
But obviously the best anyway.
The British, like, what is it called? Humble?
Yes,
the fake humbleness.
Fake humble, yes.
Anyways, yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And also start at a young age. Obviously, we should be teaching this in schools rather than endless memorization of multiplication charts. Maybe we should be teaching some logic and critical thinking, not on the side, but as maybe a main subject for the sake of the sanity of the world.
Yes, it's essential. Anyway, so we have we've ridden out the storm of this crazy article, and now it's time for me to peddle you some vocabulary. Please buy into it and learn it well, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Stir crazy.
Stir crazy.
Pedal.
Pedal.
Guru.
Guru.
Hoax.
Hoax.
Not have much to go on.
Not have much to go on.